evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rocket League Aftershock, the quintessential podcast for all things that are Rocket League in the European esports scene. My name is Switchblade J, your lovely host, and joining me as he always does is Digital Bacon. I'm going to start this off with a question for you today, Bacon, because we're going to get a little bit candid in this one today. So I'm just going to ask, how have you been? I know we only spoke yesterday, but those guys, everyone watching the podcast, everyone listening, might not be able to, might not know. So how have you been?
Yeah, been good. Super busy this week. Not only doing, TCS like we do every Thursday, but the start of the Renegade Cup, so casting that with RLCS on Wednesday, and then, of course, with you yesterday on Sunday. And then, of course, there was the NA Renegade Cup action over in Rival Esports. So doing both Wednesday and Thursday on that. I haven't slept much this week, Jay. I'm not gonna lie, buddy.
Don't worry, mate. Like over the course of Thursday night and then Friday, I've spent 36 hours up just so I can reset my sleep pattern because I've been doing too much North American work. So I'm just as tired as you are. So. Today's not a very good day to delve into controversy, but lo and behold, that's exactly what we're going to do to kick off the podcast because why the hell not at this point? And yeah, introductions over. This was a pretty slow news week up until about, a little under 24 hours ago at this point, just after the RLCS League play finished.
10 p.m. last night, I think it was.
It was 10 p.m. last night. So yeah, we're like, what is it? Like 17 hours ago, we had 19 hours ago. I can't even do fucking maths. This story broke, and we're gonna kick things off with a kick in the balls for today's podcast. This is a tweet from Remco. And you know, you can already tell I'm so deflated. We've barely even started the podcast today. I don't even know how to introduce this kind of a thing. But this is a tweet from Remco. Who started things off after the RLCS. Everyone feeling a little bit deflated. Some of the teams that didn't quite make it to the same sort of heights. We Dem Girls, especially, just about missing out on the LAN league, on the LAN spot. And he tweeted this about organizations and We Dem Girls not really getting signed. And to quote, for those of you who listen to the audio version, to answer any and all questions, no, we are not close to signing. Unfortunately, Psyonix chooses to be extremely non-transparent with where they're headed. An org with teams in 13 esports titles, but refuses to even talk to RLCS and RLRS teams must have a reason for it. Now, we've got a whole depth of discussion about this particular topic. But first, I'm going to prod you, Bacon, as to your initial responses, because we're about to go knee deep in shit in a moment. So let's start with you.
So straight off, just going to go. I think the best way is first opinions of this. Like before we looked at it last night, this actually surprised me because We Dem Girls, up until this week of action, were expected to be second seed going into this, getting that automatic sort of route into LAN. So everyone was there like, okay, we're expecting an org to at least sign them for, let's say, 2 months to cover them for the rest of this month to go into November. And then what you would expect to be some sort of E-League scenario afterwards. Like, it seems like a good bet that there's going to be something going on in December or January, following on from RLCS to keep that hype sort of ticking on over before Renegade Cup for the RLCS team. And if no org is even considering picking them up, that is very worrying because up to this point, I would say like, oh, We Dem Girls, they'll get picked up a couple of days, like they'll announce it a couple of days before LAN. They'll just be a LAN team where they're going to get paid, say, I'm just going to go with a rough guess of how much these players are going to get paid, looking at the top scene, but we know it's roughly above $4,000, 4,000 euros, sorry, a month, which is a lot of money, but for these players, that's enough to live off. And, they can go for just 1 month sort of paycheck to just represent an org at LAN, and that's good for them to just tide them over Christmas and that. Most teams, we saw it definitely with the RLRS teams, are looking for the long term. That's how you see a couple of orgs for RLRS get turned down. But here you would expect from near enough a top 3 team that it shouldn't be a problem, and it is, which is worrying.
Yeah, and I can already see, welcome Fruity, thank you for already shitting on Psyonix. We've barely even started, but thanks for the input. you're not the only one who shat on Psyonix, because like I said, we're about to get knee deep in shit. I initially found out about this tweet. I didn't even see Remco's original tweet. I actually found out about it through a dude called Duck Moriarty, and he's not the most proficient figure in the scene, but I'll rep him every single fucking day because legitimately, when it comes to journalists in the scene, I think Duck's probably the best one that we've got right now. I really hope that he does much more work. I really hope that more publications pick him up to do some sort of news coverage. But you can see what his opinions are. There's finally someone who's directly involved in the game has up and said it. Not a journalist, pundit, or content creator, all of whom who do not have any inside access, I should also add, by the way. A player who's got a good shot in making the RLCS LAN finals. Psyonix are inadvertently choking the life out of their game by being opaque. I'm pretty sure also, Ben screenshotted the rest of the thread as well. Rocket League is the CSGO. Psyonix aren't Valve. They don't have the pedigree, history, or past successes to make people just put trust and believe in the process they'll develop. Thank you for saying it. The game needs an open, transparent roadmap that either goes out to the public or organizations. Thank you for saying that. Otherwise, more well-established names will either drop out or straight up avoid joining in what is a fantastic esport. Thank you for saying it.
Again, I love Duck because he's just a no BS sort of journalist. You know, what he's saying is what he's thinking. You've got to have those good opinions, and most of the time it comes from a value, like it's actually he's seen it himself. And no, definitely from talking.
Yeah, like I'll just butt in real quick. I'll just butt in real quick. Duck is like me. Like we both came from Counter-Strike. Now that was our OG esports. So we have seen the levels of bullshit esports can hit in the past.
CS has hit bullshit.
CS has hit bullshit, like scam organizations, fucking companies who are involved with fucking organized crime, players not getting paid is just like the tip of the iceberg, basically, and shit like this is just the tip of the iceberg. So when Duck speaks, I listen because I know I know what he knows about the scene. I know what he knows about esports in general. But see, if it was only one personality who wasn't even that major, and again should be much more major, if it was just one personality that wasn't that major speaking up, we probably wouldn't feature it. But this, of course, as every single tweet from pro players do that sort of like delves into this kind of a topic does, it made front page of Reddit.
One thing I will say, Jay, I'm just going to go quickly drop it in now. This isn't like all Psyonix is to blame. Like, let's say Orgs not wanting to pay players the amount they're asking for. This stemmed from back in the days of Mocket when they came in and just completely blew everyone out of the water with paying their players. I'm just going to say a rumored, because from good sources, but it's never confirmed from them, of course, 5,000 euros a month contracts to their players, which is ludicrous for most esports even, you know? So for here, when it was only back in season 3, I think it was, that's absolutely nuts. And then, of course, naturally, all other teams follow suit, because once one team starts playing that, the better teams than them want to get paid that same level or more. So it's sort of like there was little bits of kindle along the way that started this fire that is currently going on.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that, but personally, I don't really think it's an excuse. I still put most of the blame entirely down on Psyonix.
Multiple different areas.
No, yeah, there's reason. There are legitimate reasons why for it, but you know, again, I think most of the complaints are pretty damn valid, as is the case of Frost, Flipside owner. He spoke up about this actually in the same thread as Remco's tweet. He said, "I really don't know where to begin with this. I will say that it's so unfortunate that the game with no competition and with the most market-friendly player base in terms of demographic and opportunity has such issues. I feel your pain and will help any way I can." By the way, massive shout out to Frost. Like, I think it's very underappreciated what he's done, not only for Rocket League as a whole, but also just for esports. Like he, you notice his Twitter tag is actually Stats Helix Frost, which is like Stats Helix is a groundbreaking analytical software for Counter-Strike. So he's helped out the Counter-Strike scenes almost pretty much as much as he's helped out the Rocket League space. So if there's anyone that has a right to be pissed off, it's a team owner like him who's really left out in the dark. And if this tweet is not only the last little bit, because there's a thread between him and Cloudfuel on the Reddit thread itself, and we'll get more into Cloudfuel in a second. But just bring this up on screen, Ben. Cloudfuel said they've publicly said that it's not easy to set up contacts with orgs and create fair rev share opportunities. However, we've seen this done in several other games, so it clearly cannot be that difficult. Thank you for saying it. They've also publicly said that it would be difficult to figure out a system for when orgs leave the scene, but still have an in-game item. But then again, this is also easy to write a contract to remove from a game via a patch, blah, 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 blah. Frost comes back and just fires straight fucking fire. Let's not allow them to continue to bullshit us. First line, by the way, just straight fire. I will continue to say this openly. In 2015, we received permission from Valve to show Psyonix sticker signature financials as long as we had an NDA with Psyonix. I'm assuming it said in the email we were ignored or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
At RLCS Season 3, Dave said he would sit me down. I had 2 minutes before he walked away. That's a fucking sham. Psyonix has had many chances to get the information needed in order to figure it out. There are enough teams who have the records in multiple games to show them how to better organize it. And this is one of the damnedest things for me right now, because Psyonix, as Duck said, you know, Psyonix are an organization who don't have the pedigree from Valve or League of Legends, Riot Games, or Blizzard, or anyone who've had like many years in the esports space. So you can't. So not only do they have the disadvantage of not having the trust from, or not having the majority of trust from esports veterans like guys like me and Duck and Frost, you also got the advantage of being able to have no excuse. You got the major disadvantage of not having any excuse, because you've seen all these other developers and how they've done it and how other scenes operate, and you can literally, Psyonix could just study those scenes, take the best bits from each one, and create the greatest esport. They can create the greatest esport off the basis of this, but this shit, I don't understand why.
For me, Jay, I'm just going to say is because I think they're coming into this fresh. They want to do stuff themselves. They're not looking at consultants from other esports. They're not looking to learn. When they could quite easily just even get in, you know, people that have watched how other scenes work and go, oh, this is how this works and that. Just quickly there from Fruity in chat, just saying like Psyonix should do like LCS, you know, in League of Legends. Pay the players a base salary, which could be, let's say, $1,000, and then each orgs pay on top of that. That's sort of coming into franchising there in Rocket League, which I'm going to say, I know a lot of people don't like franchising, but I've always thought how Psyonix value the scene, how they want to control it so much. Franchising to me seems like what they want to do, but they haven't, if that makes sense. Like, they think the players are Psyonix's, not like, you know, flip sides. They're not Weed and Girls. They're part of the Rocket League sort of ecosystem that is Psyonix run it all. So why don't you just go straight full out and do franchising where teams buy the rights, a bit like Overwatch League, a bit like LCS, where you buy the rights to be in there and do it that way, instead of just sort of like allowing these teams to come in, but they're not gaining anything from it, are they really? The orgs, all they're gaining is viewership numbers, which I'm going to say now isn't massive. You look at the number of events, you compare it to League of Legends, compare it to Dota, even StarCraft, it's not enough really for these teams to value paying the players that much, which I've already said it's all spurred off from a different area, but they've still got to, because every team's getting paid that amount. So you're not going to undercut the rest of the RLCS teams. Like, it's just not logical. The team's not going to sign with you. There needs to be, I think, a new ecosystem put in, like a franchise system, or Psyonix really needs to put in, you know, their in-game items, get more events going on for starters, for it to actually be of value to these orgs coming into the scene. Because at the moment, there's not enough to keep them in. You'll notice the big teams that are already in may stay in purely because they feel locked in. They've already got that groundwork and they can actually afford to stay. And they're the ones that are already these big orgs like Cloud9, for example, that aren't such a massive worry about money. It's the smaller orgs that have to leave.
See, I'm more of... See, here's the thing, though, because you say smaller orgs, but Envy left, and NRG rumored that they want to leave, and CLG also left, and these are all brands that, from the general outside space of esports, they fucking... You know, they are pretty big names.
Envy didn't want to pay the amount of the other orgs, and Counter Logic left because their team got knocked down and they didn't want an RLRS team, and there wasn't really an RLCS team for them to pick up. That's the difference over there.
Okay, but here's another difference as well, and this is where I'm going to disagree with Fruity's idea about having a base salary from the from Psyonix's point of view. Here's the problem: the leagues like LCS and Overwatch League that pay players, that Blizzard and Riot pay their players. They've already got things like in-game items, franchising systems, all these other sponsorship systems that are not put in place for Rocket League. So we come to the problem, which has always been a problem. We need to get those things out the way first. And judging off the basis of the way that Psyonix have tried to market and sell the game and try to make the esports scene, they don't seem to be too interested in that. Now, I only get so much inside information.
I just want to say on that note as well, if you look at CRL, the College Rocket League sort of system being run by Tespa, they've actually got college skins from drops and that now in their stream. So it's I don't.
Sorry. In-game items for Collegiate Rocket League.
Yeah. If you know,
so it's fucking. So it's possible. It's possible now. I don't watch Collegiate Rocket League. So it's possible for the college leagues. Why the fuck is it not in the RLCS?
No idea.
What is the fucking damage, guys? What is the fucking damage? Like, this makes zero sense whatsoever. Again, like I was saying, I only have so much insider information because I'm only a community caster. But when it comes down to creating a good esport, I generally know what's going on. I kind of had an idea that Psyonix were working on this kind of stuff because I've spoken to other pro players and they say stuff like, oh, we've been talking about stuff like having an EU studio, and we've been talking about getting stuff like skins in the game, like decals and private servers and dedicated servers and stuff like that. So I had an idea that maybe they were kind of working on that. But judging off the comments that I've read through, and I've read through every fucking comment in this Reddit thread, by the way, judging from what I've read through that, Psyonix have made zero fucking progress on doing shit like this. They have seem to have zero fucking interest in trying to get this shit set up for the RLCS. They've got it in CRL. They've got it in CRL. That is completely batshit on every level I've ever seen in all of my time looking at esports, and I've been a competitor since 2012 for fuck's sake. This is the most backwards business plan I think I've ever heard of. Like, I wasn't even prepared to rant today until you told me that CRL thing.
The problem is that it's not a backwards business plan. It's that we don't know what the business plan. We have no idea. There is just a brick wall to the community not knowing what's going on. Like I said, the players are saying they're trying to get these private servers that they can access and all of that. But Psyonix, from our understanding, haven't replied or just been there like, oh, we're working on that, or we're looking into it, which isn't still helpful because that's just saying, oh, we're looking at it, but there's no yes, there's not even a maybe, there's not even a no. So again, it's all convoluted and you have no idea what is going on here, where a simple roadmap of just saying, okay, we're looking at doing this. Just take the cross-platform party with Xbox or PS4, of course, not those together yet, but that was sort of like aimed to come out about January time of this year. It's now into October and it still hasn't happened. They've been putting off a lot of stuff and it's just, we have no idea why. We don't know where their allocation is going. We're getting very upset because, of course, a lot of the community now don't like the crates going on. So we're saying like, oh, we just want more of the Rocket Pass. The Rocket Pass is great. And then bringing out the crate at the same time makes us angry. And you're there like, okay, can you like just do the Rocket Pass, stop all those resources, all that time being spent on the crates and put it into the stuff that will help the game grow, because the crates aren't there. That's why we think Psyonix is being money grabbing, when I'm sure that's more just they've got to keep upkeep because, of course, servers and that cost money. But there's got to be better ways. And at the moment, it seems like the game has been run by, I'm going to say, suits as sort of like an example, like, you know, a generic term, instead of the people that are the game devs that actually have a passion. It seems like there's a sort of disjointed management system going on here, which we don't like, because essentially this is an indie dev game which should be very in touch with the community, and it was in the early days. But as soon as they boomed and sort of got that mass market, you know, the game sold roughly over 50 million copies. It's now not feeling like it's, you know, a game and esport community thing. It's just a toy. It's a product that doesn't really have any further purpose than just to make money, which really hurts me. And again, this is me going to the extreme. but it shouldn't be like that because we know where it came from. We were there from the start. I was there since I think about 3-4 months after SARP launched. I actually got the game on PS3. So it's been a long time, a lot of investment here, and it just sort of like hurts. It's like, you know, your friend that suddenly started doing drugs and going the bad route, and you're just there like, no, come back. You should be better than that. Extreme case, of course, there. Like,
yeah, and it is quite sentimental how like you kind of echo the points of other people, because this is the part that really is damning for me, because Cloudfuel himself also chimed in on this. And if there's one person that would be pally with Psyonix, it's Cloudfuel. But of the people that in this Reddit thread that have really ripped into what Psyonix have done, number two is probably Frost. Number one is probably Cloudfuel. Obviously, reading from the comments themselves, I put together a deck to help promote WDG, We Them Girls, ran it by a number of colleagues and shared it with several orgs, but no dice. Interestingly enough, I had very little issue getting orgs into the scene between seasons 1 and 4, but since then I've had virtually no success, having spoken to pretty much every org several times and consistently hear the same concerns being brought up: revenue share, in-game items, future plans, lack of communication as reasons why they're hesitant to join. As an org, there's very little incentive to get into a game which has an unclear future. The salary bubble issue over the past year hasn't helped with this issue either. And then there was another thread that he talked about how he would run the game. I think it was in response to someone else within that thread. He said, if I was still involved, I would definitely be doing things differently. And also, by the way, this is my favorite part, by the way. I've heard that they're working on fixing things, and while I certainly give them credit for great news and updates lately, Rocket Pass, XP System, Renegade Cup, sponsor community events, all of which are fantastic things, by the way. I'll quickly put out right now that I'm all up for fair criticism, and I believe that this is absolutely fair criticism right now. I love the Rocket Pass, I love the XP system. I'm going to be forever grateful about the Renegade Cup because it gives me some more shit to do in Rocket League right now, but this is a problem, and I'm still left with wondering what the hell is going on with orgs and revenue share opportunities. Continuing with the Reddit thread, this is something that orgs, players, and viewers all want. If it was something that Psyonix wanted as badly as everyone else, and then it would have already happened. I'm going to skip a little bit here to kind of talk about this next bit here. The compendium and in-game item systems that we use for things like the Overwatch League, Broadcaster Royale, and Heroes of the Storm, because have easily been implemented for Rocket League, and was actually designed with the intent of utilizing for the RLCS. So all the shit that is brought up these massive tournament organizations and leagues that weren't even a thing back around during Rocket League's original rise to prominence, Overwatch, Broadcaster Royale, Heroes of the Storm to a lesser extent, but still has a little bit of nice return of investment on it. All this shit was built for the RLCS, but Psyonix don't want it. Why? Why?
So
like,
again,
seriously, like why? And again, why the fuck is this a problem in the scene? What is wrong with communication? You don't have to throw it out to everybody. You don't have to be a fucking PUBG stating out your entire battle plan to the public on the night of PJ. You don't have to be you don't have to be Fortnite and have a big dick contest. Say we're going to invest 100 million into our esports scene. You don't have to do that. Just communicate at least with the team owners or something, because these are the problems that make me really depressed. This shit right here is the reason why I opened up today's show completely deflated and really annoyed. And I'm angry because I really believe in Rocket League. I really believe that this game can do so much good in the grand scale of all of the esports industry if it's managed properly. And as you're explaining, Bacon, right now, I don't think it's being managed properly.
No.
And this shit is just completely fucking... Yeah.
I was going to say, Season 5, I sort of left it as it's a nursing period, it's a teaming period, where they've just gone off and taken themselves. Going into Season 6, it wasn't that promising. Now, with the whole things like, the in-game items, the drops, whatever, from stream, like we've seen and all of that, I sort of took it as, that was because even the case that by now South America and Asia should have been in RLCS. If it was
that's something
Twitch.
I also want to add as well. Yeah. I am absolutely pissed off. I know it's not within the realm of EU stuff. I know that's not kind of our focus, but if there's one fucking region that needs to be invested into, South America is great, but that will not compare to the amount of heights that Asia can reach. And it pisses me off that APL was completely left on the sidelines and no level of investment was even thought of as far to my knowledge, by the Psyonix side.
But
That is
yeah,
a
that
fucking
was
shame.
like under Twitch's sort of plans. I think it was South America was season 5, Asia was meant to be season 6, and it all felt like Twitch was putting that on for future, sort of to entice Psyonix to re-sign with Twitch, of course, to do another, say, 2-year contract to cover season 5 to 8. And then when Psyonix said no, essentially didn't re-sign, all those plans that Twitch had to essentially keep it growing just sort of like fizzled out. And Psyonix, of course, didn't have those plans, didn't have those connections, which of course is the biggest thing about Twitch, is they've got, you know, studios, they've got everything set up in each country. You know, we still use Throwdown for the OCE stuff, and that is Twitch. Psyonix is only kept with Throwdown purely because they don't have an alternative for it, and where OCE is already a factor, they can't really leave it out, you know, so they've just left that going as a sort of separate contract. But here, they've got nothing to do with South America or Asia unless they get into contact themselves. So it seems like with South America, they're trying to get Rocket Street to do everything there. For me, I feel like Psyonix just needs to go, okay, we need to get in touch with ESL. We need to get in touch with, I don't know, MLG, even Twitch again, and get them running things, because clearly we're struggling here. And if we don't get another company in to do, you know, say half profits with and like try and get a business plan going, we could fizzle out. And that's what's scaring, I think, both of us most, Jay, is that we can see it here. If this keeps going, in 2 years' time, Rocket League could just completely fizzle on out and go down the drain. And that is scary for us because, you know, we're invested in it.
Yeah, like, you know, I started this podcast because I love Rocket League, and I'm in the scene right now. I don't even need to be here, right? I make my living casting Counter-Strike. And I'm going to make my living casting PUBG very, very soon indeed. You should keep your eyes out for that. This right here is a passion project that I'd love to turn into a job. But until the point the scene dies, I'm still going to be here. And I really would love if it fucking went the places that I want, that I think it can go. And I also really love to hear, Bacon, as well. I'd love to see someone from Psyonix or Psyonix themselves come out and just debunk the shit that we've just said right now.
Oh yeah,
because that would literally, I don't even care that I'd have to eat humble pie. I'll eat the humble pie every day.
Oh yeah.
You know, if that's the start of communication between us and the developers, or the developers and the team owners, then for me that pushes Rocket League forward, and I'll take the hit for that every day of the week.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, we just want them to start actually open up. I said earlier, I love what PUBG does. If guys don't go into it, PUBG have literally said their roadmap up until Christmas with every single bug fix, like what time they're allocating to it, as well as their tournament roadmap, like with the little broadcaster royales and that. It is great because as a player, which we've got a couple of mates in, and as a spectator, you know what is coming up. Even as a casual player, you know, oh, I'm playing this, I'm getting my bug fixes. And of course, as a casual player, you're going to watch it and you get more invested. Now, the only thing I don't like about PUBG is pretty much how much all their items cost. But that's something I can skip out.
That's a separate problem really. Entirely, yeah. Right now. With that, that's specific to that scene. We can do that when we go for PUBG AfterShock later on down the road. But again, yeah,
transparency is the best way to deal with
transparency is the best way to do things, and I really want to see more of it come out from Psyonix. Again, it doesn't need to be between the public, it can be between the team owners and the players in trying to figure out a way that we can all push the scene forward, because that is the bottom line. That is the bottom line, and as far as I'm concerned, not only are we not doing enough, but Psyonix very clearly are not doing enough. And this is only just some of the things that is wrong with Rocket League esports, and there are many, many more I'm sure we can get onto later on down the road when it comes to other big problems coming out. And again, the off season's coming up soon. We got some good shit to show you right there when we come to do the podcast at that point. But
should we cheer up a little bit?
Let's try and cheer up a little bit, because I feel like we've started the podcast on a really shitty note. Then again, I don't think there was any other way to start the podcast on any other note based off of what happened in the last 24 hours. I just want to say the closing thoughts. Remco and We Them Girls, I don't know if you're watching, I don't know if you'll ever watch, but I wish you the best of luck. I really hope that someone picks you up, because you guys fucking deserve it. You were top 2 throughout most of the fucking season, and you are now once again a 3-man team that can be reckoned with in the context of Rocket League. So I really would hate to see that talent go to waste. I really would hate to see We Them Girls be a big name in the scene. I'd like to see that put under a proper organization. I'd like to see you guys do some really good work. And yeah, closing thoughts, Bacon.
It just pretty much the same. Weedham Girls are such a good team. It's a shame. Near enough even getting to LAN at this point without being sponsored by an org, not being picked up. That's actually, for me, very disturbing for Rocket League that it should get to that case, because that is your pinnacle. And when you're the pinnacle of the esport and not with a team, that is worrying. That's just pretty much what it all comes down to at the end for me here.
Yep, right. Now that we've got the bullshit out of the way, we're going to focus on some of the tournaments that we've had over the past week, because obviously, despite the very weird direction that Rocket League is going in right now, despite the fact that we might not know much about that direction, we still have the RLCS to cover, and we also have the Grand Prix, which kicked off this past golden week. We had all 4 of the qualifiers come over from Wednesday all the way up to Sunday yesterday, which we managed to talk about baking, and we have a little graphic that was posted by Rocket Baguette earlier during the day.
We'll say their graphics are awesome here.
Oh,
just,
yeah,
this
like
is
credit
so
to
clean.
Rocket Baguette.
Rocket Baguette pushing the envelope along with like Rival with just production quality. And again, I love the Renegade Cup at the moment because it's given the community basically the opportunity to step up, and they are stepping up, aren't they? It's beautiful to see this.
Yeah, you can see sort of the teams that sort of made their way forward. I'm just going to kind of list off the teams that we had that we had go through from each qualifier. From the first qualifier, which is where most of the big names made it through: Method, Epsilon, Secret, XL, 3 Cars, which is actually quite surprising because it's Calix, Ocelon, and Gary Gorlap. Which is still a pretty good team. I wasn't expecting them to be on the first wave of teams. We've also got Pim Pam. I'm not even going to say the second part of that name. Truki. Whatever. Choo Choo Mafaka, which is a great name, by the way.
Great. We just had to go with Choo Choo on stream. I remember that. I mean, it was just like, okay, these are just the Choo Choos now. But keep them
yeah, and then we've already got Red Reserve as well. Which we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the RLRS in a little bit later on. From the second qualifier, we've got Copenhagen Flames with my boys WLF, Linda with his 2 new boys as well. AS Monaco Esports, Washed Up Boys, Nachital Babies, 5 Frags, Team Echo Zulu. From qualifier 3, it's the first pick, Sonius to B, Bolo, Discombobulated, Ambro. Yes. Oh my god! I really wish I didn't have
something
dyslexia,
Spanish.
mate. This is stupid. Something Spanish, because they're a Spanish team anyway. Nordavind, Exalted Yeeters, and then from qualifier 4, Savage, 21, Schmootly, Brash, Esmatics, TKA, Rescue Whales, and Unspecified. I actually want to zone on qualifier 4 real quick, because there was a little bit of controversy in regards to that particular qualifier. I'm gonna leave you sort of like to explain things on that one. I think.
So the biggest thing from the 4th qualifier is that I can't remember the team name. Damn it! It was Frag. Sorry for this. Frag, Kim number 7, and Siki. Now that was the team that got through to the final. No names. That's it. That got all the way through to the grand finals, and then we were told we're disqualified essentially, because Frag is the sub for Mouse Sports. Now we had gone on knowing that RLCS players weren't allowed, but subs were always a very convoluted area. It was very murky. We had asked this before, and I think it was, we've got to go and bring this up with higher ups. So we had gone all the way through to qualify for it. It'd never been a problem. And then, of course, Frag signs up. We'd gone through the tournament expecting, this hasn't been picked up. It must be fine. Get all the way through to after the semifinals when they play on stream, and we're told, nope, they're not allowed, which, again, another communication issue. And all I would have said is this should have been in the rules from the very start, just to say subs included in those teams aren't allowed, because we know in Rocket League at the moment subs aren't used at all. Everyone makes a joke of it. You get onto a team, one of the RLCS teams, as a sub purely because you're getting that title as a favor, like your mates and that sort of thing. Here it is hurt Frag, and that is my biggest sort of like thing that hurts me. Frag is an awesome player, and I think
for my money, I think he well and truly deserves to be an RLRS starter. Like he is an OP talent, and again, it really does suck that kind of rule applies.
Yeah.
I guess we can only sort of like at the end of the day, I can't complain too much because this is supposed to be a tournament that's aimed at the lower levels, so below RLCS, so no one from RLCS can compete. So I understand why the rule is there. I respect that the rule is there. I also want to give a quick shout out to Rocket Baguette as well, because as soon as the ruling was verified by Psionics, Boyan came out and immediately said, "Oh yeah, I completely fucked up." In the staff chat, it was like, "I completely fucked up. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry for having to put you guys into a situation where you have to go on to the public. You have to go on air and say that they are disqualified and they shouldn't have been playing in the qualifier in the first place." So I just want to give a massive shout out to him as well. I mean, I do look at the chat history, and I think it does seem like, for out of context, I was being a bit of a harsh ass.
At the same time,
I just want to say real quick, Boyd, if you are listening, I love you, and I really, I don't want to, because I completely did not talk to him after that situation. So I have a feeling you might think I hate him, but truly I don't. I'm really happy that you took responsibility rather than giving it to us and just telling us to fuck off. Because there have been tournament organizers that have done that to me in the past, and taking the full brunt of it is always a sucky thing. So absolute class act professionalism from Rocket Baguette as always. I don't expect anything less from that, of course, because they're Rocket Baguette, you know.
And another thing I want to say, a big shout out to Sammy, who actually had to deal with that. You know, it's not us just saying on stream, but her going to the players after they just finished that and going, "Oh, you guys are disqualified." You don't realize moderators are near enough doing this for free. And
they are the unsung heroes of this scene, right? Absolutely, again, shout out to any moderator in chat or in an admin situation, like just OP people, OP motherfuckers.
Yeah, helping everything just flow wonderfully, and just having to deal with that. She got the grunt of it and just had to deal with it. So big shout outs to Sammy. Should we get back on track with the happy stuff, though, Jay?
Yeah, let's get back on track with the happy stuff, because obviously, as well as these teams coming through, we also got our groups released. Rocket Baguette had that one announced later today from Pool. Well, actually, you know what? I'm just going to let Ben bring up the graphic, and we'll kind of talk us through this one. I actually want to get your predictions, Bacon, as who do you think is going to be moving forward in each of these pools? Because there's only 2 teams from each pool that will progress onto stage 2.
So let's just say go by them. You're near enough expected to try and take the top 2, because this is actually the seeding as well as we go through. So Pool A, I'm expecting Savage and actually Brash Esports. If you saw them yesterday, this was a team that turned up and actually took Savage through to Game 5. They looked really solid. And I'm actually hoping, I even had a little word with a couple of people, to try and get them with a coach and try and set them up, because this is a team that's come out of nowhere. And if they can perform like that to Savage, these are some ranked warriors that could really pull something off. Team WLF, I didn't actually get to see them. Same with TKA being brought up because, of course, the No Names fiasco. They got brought up and took No Names space. But Team WLF, they've dropped off, and of course, the new players I'm not so secure on. So I think it's going to be those 2. Pool B, XL have turned up. We're going to go on to this in the RS section, but big shout out to them. They turned up, and with my boys as well. They're great. Pool C, I'm actually expecting this to be Copenhagen Flames. And if they're not careful, Epsilon could get taken by Rescue Wales. Rescue Wales from yesterday suddenly looked amazing. We were saying it was a bit like, oh, Doomsy's left the roster, and I'm a bit awkward about saying that because he's my mate. But Caro coming in, Caro has been
everyone is in the firing line on this show, right? Yeah. Everybody, even Psionics. Everybody is in the firing line.
Even mates since I was like 5, you know. Sorry, Ryan. Yeah, Caro might be replacing you, because that was such a that was actually, I'm going to say, one of the funnest games of Rocket League I've casted over in a long time. Rescue Wales, Jesus, they look good. Pool D, then you've got Pim Pam and Team Secret, 2 great teams. Pool E, first picks, I'm absolutely loving them. And then it's going to be between 3 cars and Natchtown Babies. Natchtown Babies coming in really strong, looking really good. Pool F, Nordvind and Honest to Be are quite good. Pool C, it's easily got to be Red Reserve and AS Monaco. And then Pool H, Method and 21. We saw 21 yesterday. They looked nuts good. Zedo, by Matos, and I can't remember the third, and it's going to blooming annoy me. But damn, they were good. They were like the community heroes come through. It was Ghostfire. That's who it was.
I literally just fucking said it was Ghostfire.
I'm actually really happy, because you know from Zedo, he has been pushing for so long, grinding for so long, trying to make it onto that RL, RS sort of stage. And this is a team I think he could do it with.
Yeah, I'm quite excited to see what 21 can do. A couple of names to note as well. I just want to bring up to the players. TKA. I want to just weigh those guys up individually because obviously this is the team that the no name squad beat in the in the round of 16 match to make it through to the quarterfinals. So I don't think they had any major like big results, but I wanted to probe you really quickly on sort of like what they've been able on whether you think that they can do anything or they can break any upset results because we haven't seen much from them. And really, it's sort of like a very similar situation to TCS when we had to talk about Silent Gaming and the way that they didn't really qualify for the league, but they're still in it anyway, and they've got a lot to prove. For TKA, just to build a bit of storyline for that one because they've got a lot to prove. Obviously, they haven't actually qualified for the for the main tournament itself. They're gonna have to do a lot to do against these squads in Pool A. Do you think they could probably take a high seed at the end of it? But I don't. That might be a
honestly,
possibility.
Jay,
But
I'm going to say
overall-
I have no idea. I don't know the players. I don't know Ezio. I don't know Wolf, and I don't know Jean Clemmy. These are again ranked warriors, a bit like Brash. So TK, no idea where they're going to come in here. They're always an
Fair
exciting
play.
pick.
As well as that, we've also got a number of teams that have also managed to come in from the bubble scene. I guess it's kind of like the market that these guys that would be really interested in this kind of a tournament. But one team in particular I want to focus on is Five Frags because they're the only team from the CIS region. And I remember earlier today I was just speaking about how I think Asia is a region that needs to be broken into for Rocket League. I think if there's another region that has to second Asia, it would be CIS because of how much they are, how much there is so much money flowing around that particular scene. If you can crack that market, then there can be a lot of good times had in Rocket League. Let's put it that way.
So
I don't think Five Frags will be the team to do it. But there's a little bit of bear with for a second. Let me finish my fucking point. I don't think Five Frags are the team to do it, but it is kind of nice to see the Russian representation here.
Yeah, so the biggest problem with Russia is a lot of the esports money to be made is from gambling and betting, Jay. We know this, and we know how this does not work with Psyonix. I can just say, and Ben, our broadcaster, will back me up here. We did get in talks with a CIS company to an org out there they've been doing stuff with ESL out there. We were going to put on a CIS tournament. We'd even got into contracts, like the starting stage of it, alongside Asia as well, getting one NE involved, so we could have a Europe, CIS, and Asian tournament, a big one altogether. The problem was the backer for this tournament was a bookmakers. For guys at home that don't know what that means, that's basically the guys that are doing the bets and running it all, So your Betway, your Bet365, whatever, it's those companies. Now, that wasn't allowed because, unfortunately, Psyonix have everything against betting. I get that. I can understand that in a kid's game. I know, but it's one of those, if you're going to have the type of companies not associated, I can understand it. But when the whole of the CIS region runs off of betting, as we know, especially with CIS and everything like that, it closes out that region. And so that was a big deal, which just came to nothing.
So here's the thing with gambling, right? If it's done right, if it's done correctly in the context of an esports space, then it can be done safely, and it can be done to the point where minors in the scene are completely cut off from any gambling instances. That's why I generally tend to advocate for responsible gambling. That's why you'll never hear me ever say I'm supporting a scrupulous sort of a company. Like, one of the most obvious ones that come into mind are the CS:GO skin gambling sites. Again, with my CS:GO comparisons, that whole thing was a shit show. But since then, we've seen actually a lot of reputable companies come into the space, and I really would like to see at least one of those companies get involved with Rocket League, in terms of just offering a book, and a safe book, and a legitimate book that can that can support that kind of thing. There are just a couple to note, just a note off the bat. Betway, Bet365, Rivalry.gg are just three of the bet bookmakers that I particularly know what they can do, and I know what their license is about. Especially Rivalry, by the way, because they have one of the most hard to get licenses in the whole fucking world. So that everything has got to be by the book, or they're getting shut the hell down.
I'm just going to add on to your point there, Jay, that also legitimizes esports a little bit more, because you get betting on all real life sports now. Rocket League, which is arguably the most mainstream one, aside maybe FIFA now, who are just stepping in, Premiership, all that jazz. But Rocket League, if you could get, say, the start of the season, if like Rocket League was, RLCS was on, let's say, ABC in America, whatever, Sky in the UK, and whatever their connections are with the rest of Europe, if you could actually have legit betting websites, which are normal, like Betway and Bet365 that do normal betting as well, and just have that as a side thing, you would get in a whole different sort of market of people, which then also look at this more legitimately than just a game. And I've got, like you said, nothing against betting. It's just, it's got to be done right. That's it.
Yeah, and it really does kind of suck the way that whole thing was going, the way the gambling thing was going, because I was talking to Epic Land. I love Epic Land, by the way. Just say that right now. One of the best TOs in the UK
next
by
weekend.
far and away. Yeah, it's coming up. It's not even next weekend. It's this weekend. It's happening on Thursday, for fuck's sake. So we've if you are going to be if you are going to be free, then this weekend we've got an Epic Land Rocket League tournament running. So we'll be sure to promo that a little bit on our social pages. With Epic Land right now, they've got a contract with a casino, essentially. They've got a casino contract where a casino called Grosvenor, and they're running esports tournaments. They started off with Counter-Strike. They were heavily interested in looking into Rocket League. Obviously, not they as being like a key sponsor. But they were immediately shot down because they looked at the community guidelines and they were like, well, shit, we can't do it. And they were thinking of investing like £10,000-20,000 of prize pool. That's an independent sponsor sponsoring the same amount of money as the 4 monthly tournaments for the Renegade for the Renegade Cup. So all those monthly tournaments combined would have been put into a LAN environment with a LAN qualifiers and everything. All off the back of one sponsor. That's how much money we're missing out on by cutting out all of the sponsors.
And this would be just UK as well. Like, I'm not
just
saying
the UK.
We're not saying that they would exclude foreign players coming in. Like French people could have joined in if they wanted, but they would have to fund that themselves naturally.
Yeah, I'll just add, by the way, the only restriction that was onto it was that all competitors need to be 18 plus. That was it. And you got prize money there's like a few thousand up for the qualifiers alone. And then there'll be £10,000 overall with a £5,000 prize pool at the very, very end of it. So you take all that and you see that's the amount of money that one sponsor is able to put up. That's like, and for the sacrifice of like only 18 plus competitors, that's a pretty decent trade-off in my opinion.
Yeah, I can understand, like I said, because not the majority of the player base, but a very large percentage are under the age of 18. But that don't mean now. You've still got to have that whole wide variety. And like you said earlier, you just make it so 18-year-olds can't play in a casino LAN. That's fine. That's down to the sponsors to essentially, that's on them. It's not on Psyonix at all. And again, those with betting, you just make it like every bet website has it so you have to be 18 to sign up. And it's on them. It shouldn't have any deal with the blame going on Psyonix, which I feel that that's what they're worried about, essentially, which to me seems a bit weird and dumb.
You just have to partner with the right people, I think. And I think, and I really hope that like a show like ours, or like not RLAfterShock. We are RLAfterShock. No, a show like ours or Rush Hour. It'd be quite nice if they could get like some sort of like sponsorship like that to really like break the ice. I think that'd probably be the way that we move this forward with someone like a Psyonix who we might want to lift that kind of thing up. But we're rambling on a little bit more about the gambling sponsorship. So any final words on the Rocket Baguette Grand Prix, because we are running out of time. So
no, just excited, guys. Make sure that you tune in from 7 p.m. CEST this Wednesday. I'm actually just about to, like, after this podcast, go sort out the casters for that, sort of like pick who's casting it. So
I already know who you're picking, so it's fine.
Yeah, we know. That's the talk. It's cool.
Yeah, all right. So
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Let's go into our mailbag right now. We have 3 questions today. Originally, because we weren't expected to do any news, because outside of Remco's tweet, literally nothing happened this week. So we've got a few extra mailbag questions, all of whom come from our good friend Frostbite. Love that man. So let's get into our first one real quick. of course, by the way, I should have added as well, you can get involved with the podcast and the show. We can answer your questions. We can discuss your topics live on the show if you just go to our Discord, !Discord in the Twitch chat, and you can join in. There's a little channel for mailbag. You can ask any sort of questions. You can get involved with the community as well. Whole lot of stuff you can do, although we're less active on it. We probably should step that up a little bit. And as well as that, for anyone watching the VOD or listening to the podcast version, you can also find that in the description and the show notes for today's podcast. So, Frostbite's first question: do you think RL should experiment with more game show like elements for it to bring more outside interest? I've already explained a little bit what I think could bring more outside interest already. But Bacon, I kind of want to ask you.
So is he talking about RL overtime? I think it was that was actually going on between seasons 2 and 4. Again, that was probably another Twitch push thing, but there was like a Wednesday night. I think it was from 6 or 7 p.m. 5 till 6 BST, and they've stopped doing that. There was a lot of good little segments which they then like cut up and put onto YouTube, and now we don't have that. And I guess it's probably because it didn't get enough viewership. Like you would only see anywhere from 2,000 to maybe 4,000 viewers live, but it's more about that YouTube content which you want going out during the week, not just the replays going out. No, we're talking little interviews with players, little caster segments, which the casters would all sign up for that straight away because it's getting their faces and their voices out there even more. And they would love to do little like review analysis bits, little blooper reels and that of what's going on like behind the scenes and that. This needs to happen more just to get that sort of like weekly flow, because otherwise you're not keeping that constant interest with Rocket League going.
I think it's more sort of like a hardcore fan base thing, to be honest. Because I think that the extra content is for people who want that extra content. We do Aftershock for the people who want to watch Aftershock. We want to do it for the discussion, the people who want to bring discussion to the forefront. That's why we even brought that news segment to the beginning of the show anyway. As for Frostbite himself, I know he's in the chat right now. He's related to like fun elements, like what? Like you'd have in a PUBG team with most vehicle kills. We sort of already have that though. With the sort of like the accolades, the accolade system where like the golden striker,
top striker gets an extra 1,000, I think it is. The same with top savior, top
there are little prizes open for that. And as for game show elements themselves, we used to have a few of them, but I think they got pretty poor player feedback, if I recall correctly. Like there was the
mid-season madness, and the players just didn't like it because it was an added week, and Rumble it's a bit buggy. Like it's further bugged than the original game, so it didn't really work. And of course, casters. I mean, if anyone has tried it at home, you cannot cast Rumble because it's random. So casters having no idea what's going on, it's not really good entertainment. It'd be better as, like I said, a YouTube video, little one-off, like a show match maybe, instead of a full-blown tournament day.
I'd love to see like just before the grand final of an RLCS, just like get like an all-star pro lineup from like NA and EU, and then put them together and just be like, right, so fucking here we go. We're gonna play drops like hoops or something like that. We're gonna play drop shot. You know, we're gonna play drop shot, and you know, first one to fucking 10 goals wins. Infinite timer. There we go. Right, have fun with it, boys. Sorry, it's stupid like that, where it's like then the casters can meme it and everyone laughs along because you know it's a laugh. You know, that's the whole thing. I think that sort of that thing wouldn't be that much harmful. I don't think. I think it would be again. I don't think it's going to be a harm to the scene, but I don't think it's going to bring more outside interest. To be honest, that's mostly going to come from getting the big names of the organizations who are involved. Who are involved with esports pretty endemically, again, not to go back into the topic earlier, and you know, just generally boosting the profile of Rocket League esports endemic to the rest of the esports scene. So that's my sort of type of take on thing. Anything else to add, or can we move on to our next question?
No, just my little brother walked into a room half naked, which was really, really weird.
What the fuck? What the hell?
What? Just literally in his boxes, and I was there like, fuck off.
Like that's a TOS fan if I ever saw it. Like, did it come up on cams?
It was off camera. No, it was. It was.
Fucking hell! Holy shit! Right. So our next question is Frostbite asks, is an Intel Grand Slam system like we have in
Professional
CSGO
podcast.
something that Rocket League might need in terms of financial investment and building storylines? Right. So in Counter-Strike, we have something called the Intel Grand Slam. And basically, there are certain events, most of the events on the calendar sponsored by Intel. And essentially, they have like a Grand Slam style of prize pool. Essentially, they've got $1 million up for grabs. And the first team to get, I think it's 4 wins within like a
10 tournaments.
Yeah, 4 out of 10 tournaments. The first team to get 4 out of 10 tournaments is the winner of the Grand Slam, and they get $100,000 all paid out to the players in whole.
I thought it was $1 million.
Did I say sorry, I meant
yeah, it's $1 million. And yeah, straight.
You've completely thrown me off with that fucking thing. Like, I swear to God, dude. But
stop thinking about the naked men, guys. It's weird.
Fuck off. But yeah, basically, it's like it's within the context of CS:GO. That's something that makes a whole lot of sense. But I think the problem with the thing with CS:GO is that there are loads and loads of tournaments that can be part of the Intel Grand Slam. Like, you know, this thing has only been a thing since the mid of 2017, and over the last year we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 LAN events run by ESL and DreamHack, who are all part of the Intel Grand Slam system, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the problem with that. We don't have that many events in a calendar fucking year. Like, we don't even have that many events in probably 2 calendar years, to be honest, with Rocket League. And that is the main problem, I think, with the Intel Grand Slam system.
Total now, just put it that as well.
Like, you know, we probably could have done an Intel Grand Slam in retrospect, but not for right now. Certainly not. You know, it would take way too long to get that sort of thing paid, over and done with. It's a system that only really works in Counter-Strike. And that's because Intel are already endemic sponsors. That's because there's so many events going on in Counter-Strike. Like last weekend, we had 2 events. We had 2 events on the same weekend. Like, you know, that's not possible to do in Rocket League because we don't even get 1 event a weekend sometimes, you know, if we're lucky. You know, that's just the nature of the scene. Something like Intel
over and choose. That's the difference because, like, for example, there was a LAN, I can't remember, I think it was called something like Game First, whether that happened over in the Netherlands, whilst RLCS was going on for EU. Yeah, that's what you get at the moment. That's small time. Exactly. That's small time versus the big time. You don't have 2 big events going on, which, you know, imagine if there was even a minor event going on, which some of the RLRS teams could sign up for at the same time. I know we had the Grand Prix qualifier go on. Basically, the finals were during this first match of the RLCS, but that's not really the same deal, is it?
No, it's not. And that is the real problem with the Intel Grand Slam system. I like it in concept, but we need like so many more events in Rocket League. Like we just need like, you know, loads and loads of LAN events. We need to get Northern Arena events and DreamHack events and fucking RLCSs like 5 times a year in order to try and make that even viable. You know, that's how much overhaul we need to do of the whole landscape in order to make the Intel Grand Slam work. And again, well, Jay, I'd love it to happen, but I don't see it happening within the next 5 years, perhaps.
No. And going on from that point to the next one from Frostbite, what is a tournament format you would love to see experimentation with for Rocket League specifically? And I put up, well, if anyone from CSGO watched the recent major, that structure, which I think could be developed brilliantly alongside the Renegades Cup, where essentially you have 16 teams from like a challenger, let's say the 16 teams from each region of Renegade Cup, then go the fight between themselves. The top 8 then move up to the next stage, which you could call the Legends Cup or whatever, which would be the 8 RLCS teams currently anyway, go up against those 8, and then the top 8 from that go on to the finals. Essentially, it's like a building system, isn't it? And that would be fantastic because you could split these up. So say Renegades Cup, the start of it happens in February, then you'd have the Legends, let's say April time, to which you could have the finals maybe in May or whatever, just so you put it outside of RLCS time or whatever, or in between it anyway, so that you've got this extra stage, which is second to RLCS, near enough a second premier event, which gets in a second route for these smaller teams to come through. So you could have, say, XL going up against Dignitas in the finals. It's basically second, because I do like the RLCS and the RL RS structure, but only if they've got other events. If they don't change their structure, they need other events to run alongside it and in between. Otherwise, they need to up RLCS, don't they?
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing you also got to consider as well, because you've talked about the major itself, but are you aware of how the challenges are determined?
They're from the minors. That's what I'm saying. So you'd
Because
use the Renegade Cup as the minors, essentially, here.
Okay. Do you know what? Actually, I'd like to see someone take a crack at that, to be honest. I think that'd be quite fun. A 24-team tournament where you move up in stages, the challengers face the RLRS squads, and the RLRS squads who make it out of that one, plus the challengers, meet the RLCS squads. I really would like to see that for each region.
And what you've got at the start, that would only be the first season, where it'd be just RLCS getting those automatic spots as the legends or whatever, as the top 8 or whatever, the one you move on to, purely because that's easy to go for. But then after that, you can have it so if those RLCS squads get knocked down, they then move down to the challenges, of course, and they've got a safe spot there. But if you've got these teams like the bubble teams that make it up into the top 8, then they've got that safe legend spot. So it's basically, like I said, a second system to grow some more in. And of course, this should bring in more orgs, hopefully, because then there's more sustained spots, essentially, for these orgs to place in.
I will say I like the idea of the sort of like the building structure. As AK Frostbite says, it is the most criticized format in the all CS:GO, ironically enough, for being the world championship. I'd say strip away the Swiss system are part of it.
Yeah.
And maybe make maybe make the legends and the returning challengers as invite only slots, essentially. For like RLCS at the top, RLRS in the middle, and open qualifiers
for the first season. Yeah,
bottom.
Definitely.
For the first try. I'm not even sure about any seasons going forward, because it is kind of impressive how quickly the meta can change. Last season, Complexity were the third best team in the world, make one roster move, and now they're up for relegation. So I think the seeding needs to be done based off of the current landscape of Rocket League more than anything else. And we can delve into that a whole other day, depending on whether that format is actually done. But we're out of time, essentially. Like, we've got half an hour left to go on the show. We still need to get through the RLRS, the RLCS, the fucking regional championship predictions. Like, there's so many things to fucking do. So we're just going to end it on that one right there. Thank you very much for your questions, Frostbite. Again, anyone who's listening, anyone who's watching right now, ! Discord if you want to get involved and ask your own mailbag questions. And again, also in the show notes and descriptions in the and audio versions of the podcast. Right, RLRS tournament updates. Let's do it. Right now, we've got 4 teams confirmed in the top 4. 4 teams confirmed in the bottom 4, unfortunately. Nordavind, Excel, the Clappers, the Copenhagen Flames are guaranteed out of this season. They are getting relegated. They're going to have to go through the open qualifiers. We have got Savage, Red Reserve, Secret, and Method guaranteed in the RLRS for next season. But we still yet to decide who the top 2 are and who's going forwards to the promotion playoffs. That's going to be quite fun. So we'll just run through the results that we had this week to try to show how we got to this position. Savage took on Secret. They won that 3-1. Excel took on Copenhagen Flames. They won it 3-1. Method took on Red Reserve, and Red Reserve won that 3-0. Savage took on Excel, and they won at 3-2 on a reverse sweep. So good plays all in all. So let's talk about Secret first. I think this is the kind of thing I want to talk about the most. Have they blown it, essentially? It's the question I'm asking, because they had literally the perfect season up until this last week, where they had their final 2 games to play. And then not only did they lose those games, they got swept against Method, and then they nearly got swept against Savage, actually. They only won a single game in that one. That was, they've gone from dominant first place to right now the league standing says that they are at 3rd place, and they've got to have some serious fucking luck and good circumstances to get them back into top 2.
So Secret, I don't think have necessarily blown it. All their games up to this point have been the easier ones, against the bottom teams, apart from Red Reserve, which they did beat. You got to think it was Savage and Method, which they lost to in these last 2. So it's like saying you've come up against your top adversaries, and unfortunately you dropped it. Secret have done very well this season. It's just Method, who, remember, have lost 2 games already, got a good win against Secret to keep themselves within chances. And then Savage, of course, it's Savage. They're ex-RLCS players, essentially, and they have been doing absolutely great recently. the games were closer than what you'd think. 3-1, 2-1 in overtime. Secret then winning 3-2, and then Savage winning 1-0. So it's a very close series. It's just unfortunately Secret got the losses there, and that's how a league play is. It's again the whole reason why we want double round robin instead of single, so that these aren't so hurtful.
Yeah, and I gotta feel bad for Tylactor, man. As soon as they lost that Savage series, he literally tweeted out, "GG's to all and best of luck. Tune back in next year for the next episode of our series on how to ruin 6 months of work within 24 hours." It's like, mate, I fucking. Like, I'm laughing a little bit because it is kind of a little bit dark comedy, but for Tylactor, I'm just like, oh, fuck, man, why?
You got to think Freaky as well, who'd done so well this season. He was actually so good for Secret coming in, because basically when they lost Tigre up to the RLCS, I was there like, oh, Secret, that's worrying for me, essentially. Freaky comes along and I'm like, okay, Freaky, he was great. He was a great defensive player. So let's see what Secret do. And then you're there like, oh, damn. Secret, look, RLCS stuff. Like you said, 24 hours, ouch, you lost it essentially. Well, not lost it entirely, but 95%, yeah, they're not going to do it, which hurts a lot.
Yeah, there's like going to be some serious, again, like I said, some serious luck circumstances involved in getting Secret up to the top 2. And again, it hurts me so much. Like, that's the kind of thing that it's like the ultimate proof. We need a double round robin system. Like, we absolutely need a double round robin system, so that way each team plays each other twice. Because here's my theory, right? Right now me and you are casting the TCS Esports League, and that has a double round robin system. My theory is that any of the upsets we've seen so far, now that we're at the halfway point, won't be replicated in the second half.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to be like the case of like, right, definitively, we know who the best teams are, and we can guarantee that this LAN is going to be solid. There's not going to be any dispute about whether a team should or shouldn't be there. Any team that's gotten there has earned their right to play there, because they played everybody twice over, had second chances to rectify any mistakes, and it's just a more solid system overall. Taking a look at stuff like that, and you wonder, we literally had 4 weeks. We've got 5 weeks total of RLRS league play. We could have had 7 weeks at the very least, and that's just on the single round robin. What I think at this point it's starting to get a little bit stupid. I think we need a double round robin for the next season.
Yeah, definitely, because like you said, because then you can correct those mistakes. I think it also helps with the lower end, because of course we're split, 4 drop, 4 go up. If you've made a mistake for 1 week, you can come back the next and try and rectify it. You're looking at this now in Copenhagen Flames. They have no chance to go up. You got to think the teams in RLCS that could stay up, because of course the top 6 stay up, were able to start with 2 wins, 5 losses. Here, 2 wins, 5 losses grants you just dropping down. 3 wins would have even kept you going out, which just feels incredibly harsh. They're 2 completely different leagues essentially, because of how many teams can drop out.
And that's just down to 1 result. One single result separated. That's not good enough. It really is not good enough, and I'm trying my best not to hark on Psyonix too much about this, because we've already done enough of that at the top of the show.
It comes down to Jay, the point of, we wouldn't mind the single round robin RLCS RLRS system if there was other premier events going on, but when this is the only one and it happens 6 months apart, no, that hurts too much. If we had near enough 4 tournaments going on a year, let's say 2 RLCSs and, like I said, 2 whatever majors, face it, major style ones going on, that'd be fine, because then teams have more to work towards. But when 6 months are decided across 7 games, that's worrying. Again, it's not right.
Yeah. Again, just commiserations to Tylactor, commiserations to Secret. I really hope there's something good comes your way, similar to the We Damn Girls thing. I really am hoping that you make RLCS next season, because I think you can do it.
They'll
and
win
I think
Renegade
Freaky
Cup.
as well.
It's cool. That's
something. Oh, yeah, no. We've got the Renegade Cup. Don't worry about that. But let's be real. They really wanted to go to RLCS, and it sucks that they're not going to be able to do it. And it sucks they're not even going to get a chance, essentially. That's the part that triggers me the most. They're not going to get a chance. Anyway. Let's talk about XL now. At the beginning, during episode 1, when we started the podcast off, I said XL are a failed project, and they're probably never going to come back and look good ever again. I think this is going to be the last run for them. They're going to disband after this. Marquee may or may not retire off the basis of this. But comparing that week 1 XL, thank you for the memes, by the way, Ben. That's absolutely fantastic for that I am uncomfortable thing. But, you know, just like, taking a look at that team in week 1 compared to the team right now, they actually looked really good. I mean, they're still not going to make RLRS. They're not going to be safe for it, but they actually managed to hold a decent series against Savage. Like, this actually looked like a team that were looking, you know, pretty damn good. Actually, I haven't even got my notes up for this. I actually did VOD review for their series against Savage. Let me see if I can, where is it? Aftershock notes, 8/10/2018. Savage versus XL. Yeah, it was shockingly good because they've looked really, really impressive. You know, the passing plays were looking all right. The individual play, Marquee feels like he's found some really new breath in his style of play. Like, this is actually not a great XL roster, but not a half bad one either. You know?
Yeah, you can see they're working towards something new, and again, it's the whole problem. They've got 6 months now. Well, actually, with Renegade Cup stuff, so that is good that they're going to be able to keep relevant and keep grinding away. But without the Renegade Cup, we'd have been there like, oh, now they've got to wait and re-qualify for RLRS. The monthlies for the Renegade Cup are good because then we can see XL grow. And if they do it right, remember, these are RLCS caliber teams, well, up to last season anyway, they could get back to that spot. And that's good. XL, I was, like you, Jay, writing off, essentially thinking they're done. They were not so enthusiastic to put the work in. And here we can see they put the work in and it is shown. So XL lads, if any one of you are watching, well done. Like, humble pie, essentially. We congratulate you for getting back into it. And we hope you can keep improving. You can keep pushing that envelope because we want to see you play at your best. That's just how spectators are, and casters, of course.
I'm just going to take a quick bite out of this humble pie real quick, Bacon. Just give me a second. Lovely. Right. So moving on to our third team, and the final team we're going to focus in on for the RLRS Method. They have a serious lifeline bought for them. Obviously, not only they got defeated by Red Reserve, but by beating Secret, the best team in the league, they have had a couple extra situations where they could potentially get themselves into a decent position. They're up against Copenhagen Flames. And I think that that's going to be pretty much a decent and a good series for them because, unfortunately, Copenhagen Flames, their one match that they had there this week against XL, that was the one they should have won, and they didn't win it. So, you know, I don't see any faith for them being able to beat Method or Red Reserve. But for Method, the real problem for them comes into the fact that they've got to pray that Red Reserve lose against Copenhagen Flames. And then they'll actually be in a situation where they'll be in top 2.
Or Clappers 3-0 Savage. That is the
That's
second
another
one.
possibility as well, yes.
And again, Jay...
No, wait, hold on. I think that actually the game difference doesn't quite add up to that, I think. Because Savage are 9 games ahead, Method are 7 games ahead. So they'd have to sweep Savage, essentially.
Yeah, that's it. They would have to sweep Savage, and Method would have to get a good result. Basically, because there's 2 separating them. So either Method, like Savage get 3-0'd, and Method would have to sweep as well, because it's that sort of, you'd have to have sweeps both ways to get it to work, and that's super hard. Or at least Savage would have to, like, Method would sweep, Savage would have to lose, I think it's 3-1, essentially, for it to work, or something. Quick maths on the spot, you know, caster maths are never great. But it's a very bleak hope, but we've seen from Mouse anyway in RLCS, which we'll come to later, it's not entirely impossible. Who knows? Clappers, who I thought were going to do slightly better this season, could somehow cause an upset in the last week. Same for Copenhagen Flames.
Yeah, I could see an opportunity. Maybe not for Copenhagen Flames. Clappers certainly are the better team in that regard. I still think they probably could pull an upset, but again, it's all down to the fact of, are they going to reverse sweep it? You know, are they going to be able to sweep it? Because that is the main thing. The
problem here as well, and especially in the single elimination bracket, and this is why I don't like it so much, is Clappers and Copenhagen Flames are confirmed out. So they're going to come into this week. They're vying for an extra $1,000 between them, which isn't that much, you know, when you're already getting paid way more than that on your monthly salary. So it's you're playing disheartened Rocket League. If you're playing it, you're a good sportsman, essentially. Yeah. But we all know when you're already there, like, oh, this means nothing. Essentially, we're out. It don't matter. you're not going to look unless you're mates with Cassio or something, and you're there like, we've got to get this win because I want him to go up. Which is, I'm sure, a very rare case in this sense, you know?
Of course, we don't condone any sort of throwing or match fixing of any kind. Right, let's move on.
Like, playing to win for a mates, I don't think technically counts as throwing, so that's fine.
No, it does. It does. Right. Let's talk about the RLCS then, because obviously the last week of league play just happened. We have confirmed our top 2 teams, Dignitas and Flipside Tactics. Certainly expected Dignitas, wasn't expecting Flipside, but that's something fun as well. We'll just quickly run through the results before we talk about the teams that we want to focus in on.
I just want to quickly say, looking, because we got this up already, Gods Miller put out a great tweet. Team Dignitas and Flipside Tactics were the only 2 teams not to make roster changes coming into this season. Every other team had changed a player on their roster, and look which 2 teams came out on top. I don't think that can be merely a coincidence there. I know Weedham Girls looked very good this season. Their roster change was good for them. But for the rest of them, like we saw with some of the teams here, we didn't understand why they had made their roster changes. And so grass isn't always green on the opposite end. Flipside Tactics are the truth that grinding away together gets you results, and well done on Flipside for getting second.
Yeah, I was going to zone in on them as one of the topics that we want to talk about, but I guess we can just get into it right now.
Yeah,
we haven't really touched on Flipside at all throughout the course of this season, you know, like we kind of let them sort of like chill in the background. I wasn't sure what they'd really be able to do. Yeah, we thought there'd be a middle team. They might make LAN, but watching Flipside in the way that they've been able to play as well, it is such a feels good, man, to see that Mystic has finally found a way to work Yukio into the system. Because that was my main problem with Flipside last season. The fact that they were doing all right, but mostly it was just down to Cooksir carrying. I said, you know, most of the games that Flipside were winning was when Yukio was getting involved in passing plays, whether he was actually setting up the passing play or receiving the passing play. He was always involved in some of the best goals that Flipside were able to achieve. And of course, he was involved in scoring the games that Flipside were able to get during the last season. So seeing that now they've found a way to consistently work him into a play style is really, really paid off. And for Flipside as well, they're a feels good, man, because they have always been a top team. Even when Marky went out and Yukio came back in, I always thought this is still a roster that can do some serious damage. It's incredible to see, man. It's you know, it's a statement to teams like Complexity that, you know, good hard work and sticking together and doing well, it seems to pay off in Rocket League, you know?
Yeah, we'll just say on that point as well, Complexity, they finally got their stuff together in the last week. Too late, though.
Too late.
Again, why double round robin? We wanted so much. But Flipside Tactics, like you said, I can remember back in June, July time when they were playing in the Gfinity Online Cups. You're there going, what on earth is going on with these 3? And then suddenly, they were using those to practice, working it out. August comes around, they look a lot better. September comes around, oh, they're bringing it up. Still think they're only a middling team, like, you know, a 4th, 5th was my expected result for them. And then as league play goes on, you're there going, oh, they'll take a loss at some point here. Oh, wait, it's actually going. And this last week, round of applause for Flipside Tactics against Mouse and Complexity. It just, once you, like you said, feels good, man. This is a team that I want to root for, especially when they're one of those founding orgs in Rocket League. They have been a long stay. And it's great to see them back to that top level, which Flipside historically should be at.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not something I was expecting to say, but I'm so glad I'm saying it, that they are actually going to LAN. So if there's one team I'm rooting as a dark horse or underdog at LAN itself, it's got to be Flipside. I really want to see them just smash the shit out of NA, because, you know, EU. And I really want to see them go really, really far after clutching this top 2. So credit to them. Let's talk about Fnatic and Complexity, because they're the 2 teams up for relegation. And it's also curious as well because they were the ones that made sort of the most drastic roster changes. For Complexity, everyone was pretty much in agreement that was not needed. We thought that Magnus, Metzenaris, and Alot just worked together as a 3-man core, and the chemistry was really what built that team. And they threw it right out the window, and now they're here essentially, which pretty much makes this, at least as far to my knowledge, the worst roster change. Certainly the worst roster change in RLCS history, possibly Rocket League esports history. But yeah, like, you know, this was such an insane underperformance for Complexity. And, you know, last few games, last revival aside, that just this was not looking good at all from this team.
So Complexity couldn't find the way they should play until this week, essentially, and they had a very close game. Flipside, once again, Flipside, super strong at the moment. 2 games in that series going to overtime, and every game, apart from the second one, being 1 goal differential between the two. Now, like I said, this is why we want the double round robin, so that Complexity would have had then time for a second breath, essentially go through the league. But like you said, Jay, this was not a good move. They should have stuck with Metza. Now, is this down to a lot of Magnus thinking, oh, we need to change something? Or was it that Metza got called by Remco and Ignite saying, we want you on our team? Who knows? I have no idea here, because I don't know how sort of like appealing it is for a player to go from an org to a team that doesn't have an org. That sort of paycheck essentially is a big part of being in a team with an org. But Metza, he's loving life with Weedham Girls, so I can't blame him there. He's playing some really good Rocket League. Complexity, they picked up Greasy, and it should have been better than this, but not. It's a very awkward situation for Complexity here, and looking after their performance last week, it's going to be the most interesting playoff situation, because Complexity, if they play like this, they should stay up. But the problem is, we've seen the RLRS teams and what they can do.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard graph for Complexity. It wouldn't surprise me if they did drop down to the RLRS. To me, it certainly sounds like it was just, a lot of Magnus thinking something needs to change themselves, because, again, it makes no sense that Mets and Ars would go to Weedham Girls as a non-organized team. If it was someone like Dignitas or Fnatic or anybody else, I might say, okay, there's a possibility that might be the case. In which case, Metza's a god, and Metza made the right move at the right time, because Carl, unfortunately, just really have struggled. And we'll have to look at the promotion playoffs, see how well that goes. Obviously, we'll bring all that coverage on Aftershock, so make sure you follow the Twitter at RLAfterShock and follow the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/RLAfterShock if you're listening to the VOD or podcast version. Let's shoot through the next couple of bits, because we do have to do our preview. We've got 10 minutes left. Mouse Sports. 3-2 lost against Flipside, and then Fnatic losing to PSG and Complexity means that they've just escaped relegation themselves. So let's talk about this for a moment, because what's the word I'm looking for? Because they didn't have the best of seasons. At the beginning, they were really like, okay, this team is legit. They had that 1-game victory against Dignitas, which at the time was the only game victory that Dignitas were able to concede. And things were looking good for the Mouse Sports side. And then they came up against Complexity, and then things just really shit the bed for them. So over the course of this season, what the hell happened to Mouse Sports, for start? And number 2, how important is it that they're actually able to stay in the RLCS for the season?
So I don't know if it was Mouse Sports losing confidence after that, say, second week, or the other teams actually picking it up. We've had a lot of them just have to find a play style that works for him going through. But Mouse Sports, didn't look that great. Up until this week, they did look decent against Flipside. On par. 2 of those games go to overtime, and then, Flipside just have it against them. Their play style just works. Mouse Sports getting into this situation, you can just see from the stats, 13 game wins, 17 losses. They were a team that were very inconsistent, which we expect from a team that's just come up from RLRS. They're on the lower level. Realistically, they should have been in bottom 2. It should have, if you look statistically on paper, it should have been Mouse Sports and Fnatic, but Complexity taking Mouse Sports' spot. This was very lucky, because, if Complexity had beaten F3, if they had beaten Flipside, it had been Mouse Sports and Fnatic, of course, down there. Mouse Sports, I'm happy, Jay, because I want to back these lads, because I think they could be great players. They're already great players, they're in RLCS, but I think another season, we could see something absolutely nuts for them with the potential that they have.
Yeah, and they've got some really good players as well. Obviously picking up Tigray from the from the roster change as well. I think that was one of the better roster moves that happened during the off season. So I really hope that he gets to find a way to work with Mouse Sports as well. I hope that they actually get a good shout to improve in the next season, the RLCS. You sort of went like a little bit of a
no. I think they should have stuck with Mummy. I think Mummy.
You think they should have stuck with Mummy?
Team. Keep that on, and Tigray would have gone to Fnatic. That's what I think would have been the best result of all of that. But that's hindsight in that. I still don't understand why Servette Geneva, now Mouse Sports, got rid of Mummy Snow. Mummy Snow was not he was the strongest player on that team. Mummy Snow is absolutely nuts. He's still the strongest player for Fnatic. And yeah, I still don't understand that roster move itself. Tigre's good. I'm not putting it against him, but it's just that move did not need to happen.
Well, I mean, fair play to the opinions. Again, I really just want to see them sort of develop a little bit further. Again, Mouse Sports do have some potential. They just need to work on that consistency, and I think they'll be doing well during the next season, Season 7. We're really running out of time, so let's just try to shoot through this.
7 minutes.
We Dem Girls, obviously, we talked about it at the top of the show. They missed out on a near guaranteed top 2 finish. But in this last week, they really choked against Vitality. So we're going to kind of summarize these 2 points in a big thing, because Vitality 3-0 sweeped We Dem Girls. But Vitality is great because obviously this team has had a lot of potential in the form of Scrub Killer that never really worked out up until sort of like the second half of the season, where things really started picking up. They beat up PSG. They managed to get some close victories against other teams as well, like beating out Complexity and just, still taking a game off the flip side, even though they lost that game in week 4. But, for We Dem Girls, it is a little bit tragic. And I just wanted to know, number one, did you watch that series? And number two, what do you think went wrong?
I don't really think this was both teams playing at their max, essentially. We Dem Girls did very well. Vitality did even better. This is how Vitality, a bit like Complexity, should have been playing all season long. They finally hit their stride. Jay, this was a 3-0 sweep, yes, but every single game was an overtime. It was tense AF. And I'm just going to say now, the way this is sort of like stacked out, the top 4, if Ben just brings up the table as it is, those are going to be your 4 to go to LAN, I think. Unfortunately, PSG has to go up against Vitality. I think Vitality will get that. Mouse Sports have to go up against We Dem Girls. I think We Dem Girls are going to get that in the playoffs for the sort of like LAN places, whatever. We Dem Girls just had a strong opponent here, and that's not a bad thing. I'm liking the closeness here, and Vitality are going to be exciting to see as we go into LAN, because they have not unlocked their full potential yet. Same with We Dem Girls, who are a little bit more solid. They'll learn from this matchup, and going into the playoffs, going into LAN, they're going to get even stronger. EU, I was worried a little bit from last season, because it seemed like everyone outside of Dignitas and Flipside had dropped off a little bit due to the rosters. Here, they're finally hitting their stride when they need it most.
Yeah, and that's a great thing for Renegade Vitality, because it definitely felt like at the beginning of the season we were talking about how, Scrub Killer maybe not have been all that. Very clearly he was, because honestly, the guy was a defensive legend. Like, what was the stat line for the accolade?
2 goals, Savior. So that's
2.1
like 2 goals
per
game.
That's insane. Like, Scrub Killer is a defensive mastermind, and I'm really excited to see what he can do within the rest of the of what Renegade Vitality have to work with.
I'm just going to say as well, that Savior accolade normally comes from worse teams because they have to defend more. Not to, and it's going to sound like I'm an absolute dick here, but Maestro came second with 1.96. That's what we expect because, like I said, generally the teams that lose have to make more saves. Interestingly, though, at the same time, Turbo, who is that dedicated defender essentially for Dignitas, had 1.92. So this is also an interesting little contrast, as the meta at the moment is very defensive. But like you said, Scrub Killer, currently, arguably, the best defender in the whole of RLCS. And that is an accolade which I absolutely love personally as a caster, as a spectator, because the defensive game at the moment is super strong and it's the core of each team. So Scrub is sort of like, I think the difference here is that they've moved away from Fairy Peak being the focus of Renegade Vitality to Scrub Killer being that main focus and work from him, which is going to be what makes them super strong at LAN, I reckon.
Yeah, and certainly Fairy Peak in those early few series, it felt like he was dropping off. It felt like his Rocket League game had kind of weakened a little bit.
Too much tension,
not to harp on the
too
guy.
much stress.
Yeah, too much stress, obviously, because he was so many teams made roster changes and there was so much speculation about how well each of those roster moves would go. Certainly, Vitality were up to the chopping block on that regard. But, well credit to him and well credit to, Vitality for eventually able to make it work. And obviously it took a little bit of time, the full starts and everything. So again, I'm really hyped to see how well they'll be able to do next season, and whether they can actually get to LAN is another question. I think they probably should be able to. Again, I feel you on that front. They should have a decent. They should be there alongside We Dem Girls. Which unfortunate for PSG not making a second LAN in a row. But I think it is the most deserved situation for We Dem Girls and Renegade Vitality.
And yeah, definitely. So looking at playoffs, we'll move on to that because we've got to quickly finish this up. We're coming to the end of the podcast. So, Jay, I've already given my predictions. I think it's Renegade Vitality versus PSG. I think Vitality's got that. We Dem Girls being Mouse Sports. I think it's got that. I think We Dem Girls are going to fight back and take down Flipside to get into top 2. Dignitas will take down Vitality, and then Dignitas come out on top. It's pretty much, you can't fault Dignitas at the moment. They're the strongest team.
Yeah,
but
that should be that.
Are you agreeing with me there?
For the most part, I think there might be a bit of competition between the Vitality squad and the PSG squad. I think that is going to be the match to watch of this particular bracket. I think that's going to be a relatively close one. For We Dem Girls and Mouse Sports, again, it should pretty much just be We Dem Girls being able to win out on that one.
Not upset if Mouse take it though. I'm going to say that personally.
Oh no, I won't. I'll be a little bit upset. I'll be a little bit upset considering all the drama around WDG this past week. Obviously, I think they'll probably end up falling to Flipside. Again, that'll be another fantastic match to watch in that bracket, by the way. So, Renegade Vitality versus PSG and Flipside versus We Dem Girls. Those are my 2 highlight matches. But as you say, it should be Flipside to the finals, and then Dignitas able to win the whole thing. The third place matchup. That'll be Vitality versus We Dem Girls. I'd say We Dem Girls. So yeah.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Again, third versus fourth is always quite interesting. Who knows? Flipside could just have a naff day. We've seen it before where they just don't turn up on a certain day. They're already secured it, so they might not think too much coming into this. So Flipside could drop to that third place matchup, and We Dem Girls could go all the way through to the finals, which we've already seen them put on a decent show against Dignitas. And the same for Renegade Vitality to put on a very good show against Dignitas. So if Renault come through and meet Dignitas in those semi-finals, Vitality might do it this time and then suddenly be the first team to drop Dignitas before LAN, which would be an interesting development purely because Dignitas, I reckon it could hurt them coming into LAN being, on a perfect streak, because I reckon the players aren't cocky. They're not overthinking, but I think they need something to learn from before going into LAN because they've had a season being on top and not really having to do much to change themselves. That's how it feels anyway.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. So to round it off, once again, there's the RLCS League play over and done with our predictions for the playoffs, and we are done for this week's episode of RLAfterShock. Bit of a weird one, honestly. We started on a bit of a rant and a shit note, and it kind of ended up getting better because we went to go talk about the thing that we actually love, which is the Rocket League itself. And just to close out today's segment, I hope that things get better from here. I hope that Rocket League just goes well. I hope that this isn't dead in the next 2 years because we love this game so much. So
yeah.
There we go. That is us all wrapped up and done for this week. Again, for those of you watching live, I know Moby is here and he's like, I just jump in at the end. There will be a VOD up later tonight. And also, if you're a fan of the audio versions, you can listen to those on SoundCloud. We've got some very exciting news coming up. So make sure you keep it locked to the Twitter at RLAfterShock. Bacon already knows this will be announced later on this week. Of course, the VOD up on YouTube is standard. If you're listening to the audio version, that's RLAfterShock. Make sure you get involved in the Discord as well. !Discord in the Twitch chat. And again, for those of you listening to the audio or video versions, that'll be in the description and show notes. So again, thank you very much for watching. Bacon, any last words before we send off?
Nope, just that. Remember, next week, final week of RLRS. Make sure you're tuned into that, of course, because that is going to be the big decider. I'd absolutely love a little bit of an upset if Method or Team Secret can somehow squeak a spot. It's not anything against Savage or Red Reserve. I just love drama in that sense. But of course, it's the start of the main rounds, the top 32 rounds for the Rocket Baguette Grand Prix. So make sure you're tuned in from 7 p.m. CEST over on, either the Rocket Baguette channel or Rewind RL, where we'll be covering all that good Renegade Cup action.
Awesome. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Switchblade Jay. He has been Digital Bacon. And we'll see you back here next same time, same place for more of the Aftershock of Rocket League. Take care.